Hi, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to our Trent University virtual winter open house. We're so excited to have you here. My name is Sylvia, and I will be your moderator today. And with me, I have Dr. Christy Bucheri, Associate Professor and Coordinator of the Criminology program, Dr. Stephanie Arrett, Assistant Professor in Sociology. And we have two students today. Alyssa is a first-year student, and Brooke is a second-year student, but this is her first year in the criminology program. We're so excited for the path that you have ahead of you, and we look forward to sharing all of the reasons why Trent has been ranked the #1 undergraduate university in Ontario for 11 years. During this 30-minute session, you will hear from both professors and students about our criminology program, and we'll finish off with a question and answer session. So if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. You can do it throughout the presentation, or you can wait until the end when we'll have dedicated time to go through all of them, or as many as we can in a 30-minute session. So on the open house events page, there are a few live chats happening today. So one specifically for admissions, there's another for international students and also graduate studies. So if your burning questions aren't answered today, you can definitely check out those chats and someone will answer your question. They actually have students working in a Zoom room there to meet you and to answer your question. So I will post a link to that shortly in our chat. The presentation is offered with closed captioning. So to enable that, you just have to select the 3 dots at the bottom right of your screen and select Show Subtitles. So with that, I will hand it over to Dr. Christy Bucheri to begin the presentation. Thank you.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for making time on your Saturday to come out and learn about the criminology program. I'm just going to walk through a presentation that shares a bit of an overview about the program and hopefully answers some questions you might have. But again, we will be available afterwards to answer anything that's not addressed here. So certainly do feel free to let us know if you have any additional questions. But I do want to talk a bit about the Honors BA in Criminology and start perhaps with just a program description. So this is a 4-year honors degree. It does emphasize a critical interdisciplinary approach to the study of criminalization and punishment. So very important to note that it is a critical degree. So we want students to pose questions and to think very deeply about these issues and how they fit within our contemporary society. So it does draw upon different research areas and different fields of study. So even though students are studying criminology, you also will learn about sociology, philosophy, Indigenous studies, history, gender and women's studies, Canadian studies, social work, and forensics. So there are a lot of different departments who have been involved in creating this program and in contributing to the courses that you will take. A bit about the program. We began in the fall of 2021. So this is actually the first year just now that we're in that this has been offered. So it's a very exciting new degree that we really are very proud of. It is situated within the broader Department of Sociology, but it is a standalone program, a 4-year degree. Faculty members in the criminology degree are leading researchers in a range of fields. So we have experts in domestic violence, community policing relations, criminalization of Indigenous persons, and homelessness, among many more. Some of the requirements to get into this program are an Ontario secondary school diploma, a minimum of 6 grade 12 4U or 4M courses, including program-specific requirements, a minimum 75% overall final average, and English 4U with a minimum of 60%. We offer this degree as an online hybrid degree. So students do have choice in completing this degree. And when we say hybrid, there are both required courses that are the criminology specific courses, and then there are electives. And electives are the additional courses that students have choice and flexibility in. all of the required courses are available online. Where the hybrid option comes in is that students have the choice of taking their electives from the online catalog or from taking courses in Peterborough or Durham. So you have a lot of flexibility in whether you want to complete this degree fully online or if you want to have some in-person classes on campus. And that's where you would choose your electives from. All online course development is done collaboratively by an instructional content expert, so somebody who is an expert in the course subject matter, as well as an e-learning designer, an e-learning technologist, and a multimedia designer. So these courses are very fully and thoughtfully designed to be online learning experiences. And I think our students can speak to that in terms of our first year criminology course during the student session of this panel. Courses are designed to be asynchronous, and these are the online courses in particular. So students are able to work through the material at their own pace. So it is a degree that you can take and set aside your own timetable and figure out the pacing of the course that works for you. However, all of our courses are still designed in a way that promotes community. So even though you may be working through the course online, you still have a network of students, a network of faculty that you are connected with. And so this on your screen is really just one example of a course in the degree that is online. So this is what we call a Padlet, and it's one tool we use in our online learning to promote discussion among students, among faculty, and among workshop leaders. So you can see here that each individual white box is a student who has posted, and then fellow students have responded, commented, and created discussions, in this case, about Alcatraz as a case study. A little bit about progression through the degree. Now, this is a high-level overview, and you will be able to learn more about these courses in the course catalog. But just as a high level, year one introduces new concepts. So in the first year, students will take Introduction to Criminology with Professor Arrett, Forensic Studies, Introduction to Canadian Justice, Indigenous Foundations of Reconciliation, Sociology 1 and 2, as well as Right and Time, and then 4 electives of their choice. So this is where students have an option to take courses in person if you wish to take courses in Peterborough or Durham, or if you wish to do your electives online, you could have a fully online experience. Year 2 digs deeper into theory and method. And so here we have theory courses like Monsters and Misfits, the history of criminological theories. Students learn criminological research methods, responding to violence, families of prisoners, social inequality, deviance and social control, and then again 4 electives. And you can see here again, we have courses that span across different disciplines. So criminology, but also philosophy, sociology. In year 3, students become more specialized in their learning. So we focus on criminalizing the colonized with a cross-listed course with Indigenous Studies, punishing and policing poverty, which looks at theoretical underpinnings of how people are penalized in society, sex violence, the politics of incarceration, doing crime and doing time, which is an advanced research methods course, Indigenous peoples in urban centers, perspectives on homelessness, and criminological data analysis, as well as some flexibility in electives. Year 4 is where we become highly experiential. Now, there are experiential components that run throughout the degree, but this is really a keen focus of 4th year. Students will take the course Making the Ideal Victim. They will learn about selected topics that will change year to year depending on contemporary issues. They will take Sociology of Law and Legal Research Methods, which offer real practical approaches to how to use legal databases and how to conduct research within a legal field. There are also 6 electives of choice, and one of those is a year-long experiential learning course where students will partner with community agencies and be able to help them with a real problem that they're having and make those connections to be able to progress towards working in the field and learning about different career options. We do have 8 guiding principles under which we design our courses and this degree. The first is that we promote open educational practices. And so as much as possible, we like to try to use open education resources, which are freely available online or through your Trent University library, which is tied into your access as a student. So where possible, we try to avoid the payment of additional textbooks and additional materials. We use student-centered practices by focusing the program to the student experience. So this includes giving students online spaces to work and the use of non-disposable assignments. So not just assignments for the sake of busy work, but assignments that will really contribute to your knowledge and your skill building as you move out into a workplace setting. We work with the principle of enhancing digital competency. And what this essentially means is that we understand that while students may be taking an online degree, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are experts in online technology. And so part of the degree is helping students learn how to navigate those different tools that they'll be using, which in itself is a good skill to have. As another guiding principle, we provide experiential learning. And we do that throughout the degree, but in particular in that 4th year, through real-world work experiences and connections with professional communities. We promote social justice and equity by adopting practices that foster inclusion and equity, such as hiring and adoption of diverse viewpoint materials. So we do seek as much as possible to incorporate a range of different materials in our learning. We do that through being interdisciplinary and really through paying attention to accessibility. Indigenous learning is incorporated within the courses and across the program, and we do work with the guidance from an Indigenous designer in the Center for Teaching and Learning. We foster a community of scholarship and practice by building opportunities for connection and engagement between students, also with students and faculty, students with material, and faculty with faculty. So even though students will complete a portion or potentially all of this degree online, we really do want to encourage a sense of community and belonging within the criminology degree. And we use ethical, evidence-informed design practices. There are many online tools that are available, but we work with our Trent Online team very closely to ensure that the tools that we are using are ethical and that they maintain the highest standards. So in sum, criminology at Trent is a 4-year interdisciplinary degree. It can be completed online or as a hybrid option. Students learn foundational methods and theories. There are experiential opportunities, particularly focused in year 4, and our development is guided by 8 core principles. So we will chat a bit more and you'll get to hear from students, but if you do want to learn more about this program, I encourage you to reach out to me at any time as the criminology coordinator. And my email, I can also put in the chat, is simply Christy Bucheri, so my first and last name, @trentu.ca.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bucheri. We did have a question in the chat just to confirm whether or not a student can take this course only in person.
At this point, the criminology courses are being developed online. Some of them are already existing courses. For instance, the 1st-year sociology courses can be taken in person because they are existing, but any of the ones that have a crim course code are being developed at this point exclusively online.
Thank you. So I would like to turn it over to our students to share a little bit about their experience. So I wonder if Alyssa, you wouldn't mind starting and you could share a little bit about why you chose this program and how you're finding it so far, because you are just over halfway through your 1st year, right?
Yeah. I chose this program in Trent specifically because I fell in love with the campus and the people. And I love the profs, not to sound like a kiss up, but all the profs at Trent are very, very, very caring. And there's a lot of interesting opportunities that this type of program can lead to. A lot of them helping people, which is something I'm looking forward to. And all the content is always super, super interesting. And I love that. So.
Wonderful, thank you. And we'll come back to you for sure. We'll have some more questions for the students, but Brooke, how about you? Why don't you share why you chose Trent, why you chose the criminology program, and how you're finding it so far?
So I chose Trent 2 years ago. Similar to Alyssa, I fell in love with the campus. I liked the idea of a smaller student to staff ratio. I think Trent is 20 students for every 1 staff, if I'm correct with that stat. And then I originally applied to Trent as a business student. And then I switched my degree to sociology and psychology, and now I'm in the criminology degree. So I love the flexibility that Trent has, because your mind will change when you're at school sometimes, and Trent is very accommodating to that. I also love the flexibility of the program, as Dr. Bucheri explained in her slideshow.
Do you have a favorite class so far?
I did really like Dr. Bucheri's sociology part 2. Again, not to kiss up, but I did love that course. And I'm currently in deviance and social control, which is also very interesting, and intro to crim.
Oh, wonderful. How about you, Alyssa? Do you have a favorite course? Just curious what made it so, or just one of your favorites?
Yeah, my favorite course by far has been my criminology. I'm in 1615, so the first year class. It's very good. Thank you, Dr. Harriet. Very good course. It's very, very interesting, and it's like what I look forward to every week.
Great. Is there anything else, Alyssa or Brooke, that you want to share before we open the floor to general questions from our guests today?
I could share a piece of advice for students if you want. So as I said, I've changed my degree a few times. I'm in my 2nd year, but technically restarting as a first-year student in the new program. But my main piece of advice, which I did not understand while I was still in high school, is that there is no rush to complete your degree, and your interests may change, and both of those are okay. You have the opportunity to create your own unique experience, which works best for you, especially with the hybrid option. So no rush, you can take a step back, you can take a breath, and create the experience that you want.
I also wanted to, I know someone was kind of worried about it being an online class. I was very much wanting to be on campus a lot, but the way it works is you're on campus probably more than you want to be already with half the courses. And taking it online, I think, is very, very helpful. And I feel like I'm learning a lot better than I would if I was in person, especially for this, because it's content heavy, but I think it's helpful that it's online versus being in person.
Yes, there are pros and cons or benefits to both. So I'm glad that you're finding those. I was wondering, Christy, our professors Bucheri and Arrett, if you could speak to how someone might prepare for entering into this program, if you have any advice.
Advice, I would say, so online learning is a different way of learning, which I think students are becoming more and more comfortable with as they are been going through remote learning and getting used to that online environment. So I think that really the best advice coming into a program like criminology in particular is really just to be passionate about it, to do your reading, and to get engaged with it. There's a lot of opportunity, as we said, for community discussions, for student boards. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So even though it's a bit overwhelming, I think no matter what first year program you go into, one of the benefits of online is that you do get that sense of, I can leave a comment and then I can walk away and I can come back and somebody's responded to it. So it almost has some of the benefits of like a social media, where you can leave a comment, return, and have those ongoing threads, as opposed to a lecture where you go to 3 hours and you sit in the lecture hall and you walk away and you come back the next week for 3 hours and you walk away and come back for the next. So it is kind of an ongoing discussion that you enter into in first year. And so I would say the best way to prepare for that is simply to, become comfortable with that model of learning, that it is going to be something that you're developing relationships. And we do work with a cohort model. So the people you enter first year with will be in your second year courses, will be in your third year and your fourth year. So there are a lot of opportunities to make friendships in that regard, and, just get involved, I think, is the best advice that I can give.
I can add something to that. I was just thinking of what Brooke had said about, being open to transitions and changes, and how sometimes we may start on one path and we find ourselves maybe on a similar path, but slightly going one direction or the other. And certainly criminology is quite open to a range of potential workplaces after. I know some, and so when you go into it, I'm thinking maybe you may have a destination in mind already, policing or corrections or whatever it may be. Community justice work would be another route. But if you're not in that place yet, it certainly is okay to enter into it not quite knowing where you want to be, but maybe you want to work in justice, whether that's criminal justice or social justice. Certainly within criminology, particularly with a critical perspective, which is one that is talking a lot about power and how that operates in society, and who we criminalize, what we criminalize, that kind of thing as well, can set you on a number of different pathways. So don't worry if you're not sure yet what you'll do with it. There's a number of different potential routes you could take. I did that myself. I started out in one path and went on a different one in my third year. So don't worry if you're not there yet. Criminology has a range of options.
Thank you. Yes, I also changed my major. I'm a Trent alum, so it's quite common. And it's really wonderful to be able to explore what opportunities you have and then decide. So, okay, I was also curious to hear from possibly Alyssa and Brooke, but if anyone wants to chime in, we did get a question about electives. So some students coming to Trent are under the impression that all of the courses will be laid out and assigned for them, but really we have some required courses, and there's quite a few opportunities to dabble, kind of like what we were saying, try different courses from different disciplines. So if you're willing, Brooke and Alyssa, to share what electives you're taking, like one or two, and how you found that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of options. I was a little bit worried about that too. I didn't know if it was all going to be laid out for me. But you have a lot. I think we had 5 electives for first year, maybe 6. So I took a really cool mythology class. Right now I'm taking a history class, and you can kind of go anywhere you want with it. It's really, really cool that you can do that, and it doesn't have to be anything with criminology at all. I'm just doing what I'm interested in, keep my grades up, and yeah, it's good.
Since I was already in psychology before, I'm continuing on with a psych minor. So many of my electives are psychology courses right now, but in first year I took 2 Spanish courses. I took a social work course. And yeah, you can take really anything. If you explore the academic calendar, there's many majors, and most of them you can take those courses as electives. So
Thank you so much. Yeah, I posted a link to the academic calendar, which is quite a document, but if you do have time to look through it, it goes through the required courses for every year of every program. So as long as you hit those, you can build your schedule based on your interest, or yeah, maybe trying something new. I also have a question about co-op opportunities and placements. I know this is a growing interest for many students. And I think Prof. Bucheri, do you mind speaking about where this is at with the program?
Absolutely. So certainly at Trent, we value experiential learning, and co-op is one opportunity for students to undertake that. In criminology, we currently are exploring that as a pathway for incoming students in not this incoming fall, but the year after. So students may be able in second year to loop into that as well. And then we are exploring as our fourth year experiential placement a way to connect students. So we do have different options for students to get involved in the community. But really what we want to hear as a new program is what students are interested in. So if co-op is something that you really want, or if there's a particular experiential learning opportunity that you would like to have, or you want to make certain connections in certain fields, we would love to hear that. So by all means, send me an email and say, you know, as you're building this degree, I want to say in it. I would love to hear it. I do reach out to students when I can to try to get feedback, and we'll be doing a lot more of that next year as we have more students coming in and we're heading towards that fourth year option and developing the co-op. But please do feel like you have a say in shaping this degree, because we're building it as we're going. And I think that that's a great thing and a positive thing, because we're building it with student input. So co-op is absolutely on the table, and we'd love to hear more about whether that's something incoming students want, whether you're interested in it, and if so, what sort of fields you'd be interested in and what sort of connections you want to make.
am I able to add something about the electives?
Please.
So when I was in my first year and I was looking at what courses I wanted to take, I was in psychology and sociology. So I had to take 4 half-year courses. And I thought that I could only take courses from those disciplines because there was no like direct list of like, these are elective courses, but you can take any courses from any discipline just as an elective, but they may be required for other programs.
Good to know. Yeah, there isn't just a list of elective courses. It's the courses are required for some majors and not others, but everyone is welcome to take them as long as they have the prerequisites. So that would be some courses that you have to take at Trent. So say you're going into second or third year, you would kind of know. So it is worth checking even future years what you'd be interested in taking, so that you can try to keep as many doors open as possible, I think is how I would put it, which Brooke's nodding. So I think that's okay, accurate. Great. All right, I think we have time for just 1 or 2 more questions. If anybody, I think I've caught everything, but please let me know, my students and professors here, if I did miss a question. And in the meantime, I am curious to hear a little bit about the student life experience. I know it's been a challenging couple of years, but in terms of the in-person events, we have had many, but it's not a typical year. Is that something that Brooke or Alyssa could speak to?
Yeah, that was another thing I was worried about, was I didn't really know how this year was going to look. It was, the past month has been a little bit quiet, but my Dawn is really good with planning events, and we have like movie nights, and we do sports days, and we do a lot of things like that. And when we first came in, we had a week, and it was so much fun. There's a lot of opportunity to meet people, which I was nervous about, but you shouldn't be nervous about it because there's always going to be people around anyway.
I lived in res for first semester last year, which again, there was the opportunities of O week and stuff, but my first year was still kind of mid-peak pandemic. There was no vaccines yet. So not much happened. A lot of it was online, but they still did their best to like engage students. And like Alyssa said, my Dawn was super nice, always there if we needed anything. And then this year I live in a house off campus with students, with some friends, and that's a very different experience, but also a fun one. And Trent has good resources to help you find a place if you are unable to find one on your own. So.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. I can't believe it, but we're coming to the end of our session. So I'll just pass it back to the program coordinator, Dr. Bucheri, if there's anything else you'd like to pass on to our guests today.
Thanks, Sylvia. I just want to end on a brief note around, we were talking about exploring your passions and trying to, find your path. And I think that that's an absolutely normal and expected part of university life. As you are looking at your program and doing that planning work, I would encourage students to also note that while you were taking the criminology degree, you can take a minor in another subject. So as you're planning out your electives, it's worthwhile thinking about which pathways you may be interested in as you're sort of thinking about a secondary interest or a secondary field of study. We do have excellent advisors who can help you map out a way to get a degree in criminology and a minor in another field. And I would just say thank you all for your interest in criminology. We are very proud of this program, very excited about this program, and we appreciate you taking your time to come and learn about it. And we hope that you will join us in the fall.
Oh, sorry, I had a bit of a freeze moment there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your experience and knowledge that you shared, Alyssa, Brooke, and professors Era and Bucheri. The session has been recorded and it will be posted to our open house webpage. So if you want to review this session again or look at recordings from any of the other sessions that you might not have been able to go to, they will all be posted there soon. And I would really like to invite you to come and visit our campuses. I know for me, it was a game changer and it can really help you get a sense for the space. So there will be in-person open house tours in March and April at both our Durham and Peterborough campuses. And you can also register to come for a tour aside from those events. So there's lots of chances to come and just walk around and explore. So yes, thanks again, everybody, for coming. We really hope to see you on campus sometime. And I just want to wish everyone the best, and I hope you have a nice weekend.